Tell Me More is a new set of live streams that I'm going to do that are inviting people to just let us know more about who they are, because I really believe that everybody has their own different stories to tell and to share with each other.
There we are.
There you are. Hi.
Hi.
How are
How
you?
are you?
So tell me about yourself.
So, live in the Midwest where my heart really is. I have two wonderful adult children. I live singly for the last decade. I've been married 3 times, and so that's why
Yay.
I prefer. That's why I prefer to stand on at the head of the table now and joining others instead of actually doing it myself.
Yeah.
So it turns out I'm a much better advice giver than I am a doer.
They say you teach what you need to learn.
Yes, I do insist on meeting with the couple and finding out their reasons for wanting to join.
And how long have you been an officiant?
Since 2015.
2000.
It all happened as an accident, actually.
Yeah, that's what I'd like to know. How did that happen?
Well, I was a karaoke wedding DJ for 18 years, and I just retired in September.
Oh, yeah.
And one of my brides had said, "Oh my God, my minister canceled at the last minute. Do you know any ordained ministers?" So, being the great Googler that I am, I found out that you can get ordained overnight. And so I went and did that. And in the meantime, she did find someone, but there I was, an ordained minister, and I thought, well, this is perfect. As I want to transition out of the music business, I can just lean towards more of the wedding side of it. There, I've done about 50 weddings, and it's brings me great joy.
Do you have a certain style of ceremony that you like to do? Like, are you more religiously or more spiritual, or do you do all?
I'm probably more spiritual. The same-sex marriage was actually a Buddhist ceremony, when in all honesty, all it did was really speak of love. So
Go figure.
yeah, I mean, that's all we needed. A person sitting watching the ceremony wouldn't have known that it was a Buddhist written ceremony.
Did they give it to you, or did you go out and research and figure out how to do it yourself?
I researched what was needed, and what might have been available in the little snippets out there that I could have incorporated into it. As far as bringing God into it, I did perform a ceremony in a church. The very first ceremony I ever performed was in a church. Since I wasn't struck down by lightning, I figured I was okay to go.
What was your first experience like? Did you feel out of sorts?
I was very nervous because I was filling in for a friend that had worked with the couple already, so I really didn't know them. And she was having to be out of town, so I had to go and cover for her. So not wanting to let these kids down, I went ahead and bucked it up. The only problem I had was it was very sweaty that day, and my glasses kept dropping. And it's like I was holding my script and the microphone because it didn't have a stand, and it's like I kept punching myself in the face. And at one point, the best man just came over and held my glasses up. From then on, I started making the fonts on my papers really large so I wouldn't have to wear my glasses and suffer through that again.
Those are the kind of things that you learn over time. I'm going to have to put that in my course as one of the tips for brand new officiants, because I have that course for brand new officiants. And those are the kind of things that I want to put in there. And that's a really good point, because the other thing too about glasses is that they can be glary and
well, sure, they're not good for pictures or live videos.
Yeah. Is there very much effect of COVID?
It's like it's happening to the world, but not happening here, because my world really hasn't changed that much. I was supposed to have a renewal of vows on March 21st, the day we were getting locked down here in Illinois. So that had to be canceled. And that was a dear friend of mine who just survived a year of cancer. I mean, she was just now a year in as a survivor. And so we were going to be celebrating all that. So that's kind of like, it still hangs in the air almost, And I fear for the one on June 7th that we may not be able to accomplish it. Albeit, I am still planting flowers and going nuts and making sure my yard looks lovely. But to answer your question, I really do think that COVID-19 is going to change the fabric of our entire life. We're going to have to rewrite the scripts, not just for our wedding ceremonies, but for how we live, how we communicate, how we are with each other. I think social distancing is going to have to be the norm until they can find a vaccination. And if that doesn't come within 12 or 18 months, and if we want to get out of our houses, we're going to have some discipline and remember.
So have you figured out ways to incorporate that into your ceremonies and how like you set it up?
No, I haven't really considered that because I haven't had to look at it yet.
So you want a suggestion?
Yes, please.
So I don't know how you do this, but normally when there's the blessing of the rings,
yes,
they exchange them. I always take them in my hands and then I tell a little bit about the symbolism of them. So
I do that.
There is concern about us handling rings, too many people handling rings. So I'm going to have them hold them in their heart, to their heart, and take a moment to bless them, and then they can exchange them with each other. But I won't touch them. It's, it's fine for them to, each one of them to touch. But as far as my experience has gone, we're still holding our breath.
Funny story about becoming an officiant. I'm also a reflexologist since the year 2007, which means I rub feet for a living. And one of my clients, I was telling her I was all excited about being ordained. She goes, "Oh yeah, that's nice." She goes, "Yeah, I went to divinity school and got my ordination." I'm like, okay, which I think is a valid point if you're going for the traditional marriage ceremony in the sense that you're in a church trying to express these vows of love and have a good beginning and a solid blessing. And I think those are important things in a wedding ceremony personally, seeing as you just learned that I was only in one church. I'm generally doing the backyard or different locations. The last ceremony that I did, this was so hard. The woman was on her deathbed, and she wanted to make sure that her boyfriend got her belongings because her family was involved and they weren't going to let him have anything.
Yeah.
So I went over and there's a skeleton lying in the bed and she was perfectly capable of speaking. They pathetically had dressed her up in a little white dress and flowers, and it was just so horrifying and hard, but I understand why they wanted to do it. And I was grateful to be able to do it for them. But there just shows you that there's all kinds of different situations and reasons why people have to be married or want to be married. And the fabric of marriage has changed extremely since, say the 1950s and 60s when we were building families.
And some of that's really good. It's a good thing. Some of it's changed.
Oh, well, that's true. Yeah. That's true.
Yeah.
But I mean, like people getting married and they're not going to have children. I guess that's what I mean is that for me, the foundation of a marriage starts a family and, having your children and building a foundation from there. You are going to be my one and only. And not that that isn't included in the original marriage ceremonies, but if you're not planning on children, what is the purpose of getting married aside from the legal ramifications for belongings and property?
Yes, and I think there's some validity to that. I know this past year I married a couple who'd been living together for 19 years. They wanted her to be able to get his Social Security because unfortunately still the man's is usually higher. But it was a really sweet ceremony.
This was accidental for me, but it works in well with my persona as a reflexologist and a Reiki master. I am the presence of calm. I would want somebody like myself guiding me through these steps. After I became officiated, I immediately rented License to Wed with Robin Williams to see how he handled things. And I think it was a very valid thing to do, only because it showed me how important it is to get to know the couple.
Right.
And so you can write a very, an exciting script and not just one that it sounds like Linus from Snoopy.
Do you have any particular questions that you find elicit great stories from your couples?
I have two different worksheets that I offer them. One has a list of 36 questions, and it's just about life and how you would handle this. The other one is more specific to like their finances and how they assigned roles for each other, like who's going to do the garbage. In fact, that was even included, but as a request from the bride, that I include that in my vows that he will take out the garbage. So
I love that kind of stuff though, when they really customize them like that, or they
why not? It's your wedding. You should be able to write whatever I wouldn't care if somebody wrote what they wanted me to read, and I would be a good little monkey and do that. You know,
yeah.
It's they're paying me.
Yeah, I think that's really important, is to make sure that officiants know now that a lot of the things that we thought we were supposed to do, in fact, I have a PDF about it, that we really don't have to do some of those things, which is joy factor and putting fun things in there like that. And would you ever do like a theme wedding where they asked you to dress up like a zombie or somebody from Star Wars? I mean, are you that open, or do you have a different?
Oh, well, absolutely, I would. As a wedding DJ, I've experienced many of those wonderful bride and groom first dance where that was themed out and orchestra or choreographed, and it's been a real joy to be involved in weddings that way.
Do you have a bio for yourself that includes those kinds of things that you then provide to people that are looking for?
Mostly, Crystal, what it's come to lately is just word of mouth and people that have had my experience before and trust me as a person to guide them where they're going. I do have a little picture that I use with a bride standing in front of the barn with her husband, and they both have shotguns. And so I call it Shotgun Wedding. So, because most of what I get are like last minute or, oh my God, we have to get married or whatever. So because of that being experienced in the last like 5 or 6, I just renamed it Shotgun Weddings. I do have a question. Is a Zoom wedding valid if they have the license?
It really depends on where you are. In some states, you don't even have to have an officiant. The couple just go, boom, we're married, and that's it. So every state is different.
Could you please repeat what you said?
No.
Isn't she nosy?
Oh my God, man. I even have it on silence. Okay, Siri, you can go to bed now.
I'm not sure I understand.
Okay, there she's gone. One of the things I do is I actually give them a discount because I just think how they've been treated is appalling.
Oh, that's wonderful.
And some of the ceremonies that I've done have been very small. And I know one couple, they were the sweetest, most loving couple. And they were together for like 12 years before they were allowed. It's not like gay people are just jumping into these weddings like straight people do. No. I always say straight people have no claim to having healthy relationships. That's
true.
So don't tell me that gay people don't have that ability. I don't usually go to the receptions, but I went to the reception because these people were just so nice and so sweet, and some wonderful things happened out of the blue at their wedding ceremony. And the person who was the manager of the restaurant came up to them and said, "Oh, are you celebrating something?" And they said, "Yes, it's our birthday."
Oh.
I still sometimes feel that there's a shyness that it had to hide for so long.
I'm the only reflexologist in the area, and I would love to have somebody else rub my feet.
Yeah, trade it. That's I would think that some of those things that in a bio that you create for yourself, that those would be interesting things, because like in the course, one of the things that I do is I recommend that people create a bio from themselves or something that you might find is interesting. Like my claim to fame is I saw Jimi Hendrix, and I hitchhiked across the country 3 times. So these are things that make you, that would make you an interesting person. That someone that's looking for a unique take and flavor to their ceremony would find that attractive in you by promoting that. What kind of advice would you give to someone who's starting out like you did in the beginning?
Google is your friend. There's a lot of people that have gone before us and laid wonderful groundwork like yourself, and just turn to them as a mentor and read as much as you can. Write out ceremonies, just, visualize 2 people and create lives for them, and then write a ceremony that fits that. Practice is always a really good thing. Just don't be afraid to ask questions. It's important. It's this couple's wedding. It's these couples start to a new beginning, and you want them to be prepared. It's like a parent sending their kid out, You want them to be prepared for the things that they might be encountering. Did you know that you have to do this? Or did you know this is the steps you'll need to take there's a lot of stuff in that envelope that comes from the court. Let's walk through that so you understand what you have to do with that, so you're not, you know, messed up 5 years down the road when you need to have this piece of paper. Make sure that they get the most affordable advertising they can. I personally use Thumbtack, and they Thumbtack is like a service industry referral service. It's very nominal fee. It's not a monthly fee. It's a pay as you get fee. So they'll send me all the referrals in my area, and I can either pass or they let me communicate with that person. And if and when that person chooses me, then we have full on communication with email and Skype or whatever. And that's one thing I'm going to be doing if I get this next position with a couple, is to be able to do our pre-ceremony things on Skype or FaceTime. Right, because I still feel the communication is so important. I mean, would I marry someone that had ill intentions? No, I wouldn't. I wouldn't. But I don't need to know, you know, definitely what their reasons are. But if I can see the love between them, that's all I need. You know?
A lot of my couples, they don't think that anything inharmonious will ever happen to them. And so, like I have a program that I offer to them that's I call it relationship coaching, and they get, like, with a couple of different packages that I have, they get one automatically, but very few of them take me up on it because it's an option. It's not required. Sure, because I just can't, when someone's in the throes of this is it, you can't tell them very much. And
but why are they paying us this much money if they aren't going to respect our opinion? This is how I've set up my way of dealing with couples. Other officiants may just accept the check and be there for the day. I guess, do you have different rates if you have to be at the rehearsal?
Oh yeah, definitely. Well, the rehearsal actually takes, I mean, as far as presence, that takes as much time as the ceremony. In my contract, it says if you're a half an hour late, every 15-minute increment after that, there's an extra charge. Because it doesn't happen very often. But same thing as for the wedding. Like, if you really want to wait for Aunt Betsy and Aunt Betsy is still an hour away, if I can do it, fine, but it's my time. You know, our time is.
I waited 15 minutes for my second husband.
What do you mean? Tell me more about that.
He was late. He's always late. He'll be late for his own funeral. I'm always early.
Yeah. Like, if you always go early, I have a little technique that I use, and I use it for even the smallest of weddings, and it's called the easy peasy way to customize a ceremony. It might even be, you know where it is? Did you get that 4 videos, but it's 3 different things that actually talk about how to customize a ceremony? Did you see that?
Oh, I will go check it out. Sorry, I didn't.
They're very simple, and it's not anything really complicated, but it's in there.
Aside from the religious aspect of being married and the ceremony and stuff, it's such a rewarding and it's an enjoyable experience, you know.
What's the best compliment you've ever gotten?
Oh my God, is that everyone in the family keeps coming to me for their marriages and their weddings, and you know, cousin Amy now wants me, or you know. So that's
a family officiant.
Yes.
I think that's very cool.
Like, I have one family that, so the group of people that I worked at when I was first starting with my reflexology, I did the owner's wedding, and that was tough because for her, I was just the DJ, but she wanted a heavy metal reception, which blew my poor little country mind.
Yeah.
But we pulled it off. If anyone wants to know how to get rid of Grandma and Grandpa early in the reception so you can party and get drunk, just throw some heavy metal in the mix and they'll be gone.
That's funny. There is a controversy among people who have been ordained in seminary and do ceremonies, and those who are
totally
just
appreciate that.
done online. This is one of the reasons that I've created the course, is that sometimes who suffers from online officiants is people who just want to make a buck, or people who don't put any time in it, or it's just a 3-minute thing. And you know, when somebody comes to be at a wedding, from across the country, especially now. And then the ceremony is 3 minutes, and then it's like all it's about is the party. And even the party can be the tone. You can set the tone for the party by having a great ceremony. So I try to help. That's what I want to do anyway, is help new officiants to be able to do a great job, so that the couple doesn't get embarrassed. They don't embarrass themselves. You know, people have an opportunity to be inspired. You know, I don't go for boring ceremonies at all. And those kinds of officiants who don't care are never going to go away. And being ordained online is not going to go away. So why should we, because I was ordained in seminary, why should we fight it? You know, why should we waste our time trying to control stuff that we have no control over?
You have no control
Just
over it.
Bless it, you know, bless it all. I want everybody to do a good job. I would love everybody, wouldn't you, to be totally happy.
Absolutely.
We're able to say, yep, I saw these people and I interviewed them and I know their marriage is going to last forever. We'd be millionaires.
Oh my God, yeah.
But there's no telling. There's just no telling. And so we get to do, you and I and anybody who watches this gets to do the best that we can do, and then let the rest happen through the growth that their soul is asking for.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's up to the couple. Back to the way it makes us feel. As a karaoke hostess, I have a lot of friends that are musicians, and they wouldn't come to my karaoke night because that's not real music.
Oh,
so
yeah.
I'm not a real minister, but my heart's in it, and I have full compassion for what I'm doing. And if that person's got nothing to do with the day, I don't let their opinion bother me, because I'm doing it for the two people that are paying me. And the biggest compliment back to this is that I recently had two of my best friends lose their husbands. Object as I was to doing it, they asked me to lead the funeral services. And that was an extraordinary experience that I don't want to repeat again, but I would for someone that I cared about. I wouldn't be hired out for it, because I feel to honor someone in that position, it helps to know them and the kind of life that they led. Although as an ordained minister, I prefer to call myself a wedding officiant, so I don't run into those things. As an ordained minister, that is possibility of one of your jobs, being that you're asked to lead a funeral service. And that just depends on where your heart is and what you want to do with it. Yeah. You can always say no, but that it's not as rewarding as enjoyable. But
well, tell me what, in closing, tell me one more thing. What do you know for sure?
If you were to ask me that in February, I could have had a really brilliant answer. But today, as we sit, I don't know for sure, except that I still have the love of my children and the love of my family. And I know that we are going to get through this, not unscathed by any means. We're all going to have to toughen up a bit and maybe wash out your Ziploc bags and make them go a little longer. Just like Grandma did, you know. I do. One of my investments that I made back after 9/11 was I bought the domain we'reallinthistogether.com.
Oh, wow.
So I've sent a note to Elon Musk. I've sent a note to CBS. I sent a note to Garth and Trisha when they did their lives. Anybody that's saying it on their lips, I'm sending them the note saying it's for sale. We are all in this together.
That is so true. Wow.
We've never been more. We will never see an event like this that included everyone so globally. And I think that's where the intensity of the emotion and the thing for the COVID-19, because there's so many theories attached to the purpose and the reason and how do we get rid of it. And there's so many variables. It's just overwhelming. So stay within your center, meditate and pray, and just get up out of bed and continue to breathe. And that's one of the things that I've learned how to deal with this. If you're senior like myself, to continue to do deep breathing, because that helps to keep the lungs clear, and that's where the disease is heading. So, What I do know is that I'm still alive and I'm still breathing and I'm still able to smile.
You know, maybe what we'll do one of these days is I'll put it out there and we can have a joint Zoom meeting.
I would love that.
For let's find the silver linings. Let's discuss the silver linings.
I love that. I walked into the grocery store and I was gonna, you know, this was the day before we were shut down. And one of my friends was in there. I'm also in the CBD business, and one of my partners was in the store. And when I went to pay, he had covered my bill. And you know, girl, that I'd filled that basket up. And, you know, the manager and I were we were weeping because of the compassion that this man has and how much we love him. And, you know, it's just to have that bill covered for someone like myself was huge. And it was a wonderful thing. So there's kindness. Kindness is out there in the world.
It definitely is. And you know, one thing I forgot to ask you, how can people get in touch with you if they want to?
You can find me on Facebook. Don't look under Lorraine Watson because there's 156 of us. I have a website called I am at we'reallinthistogether.com.
Okay.
You know,
okay.
like I am at we'reallinthistogether.com.
Okay, perfect. I love it.
Yes.
I love it. Well, thank you for telling me more about you.
Oh, sure. Thank you for having me, Crystal.
You're welcome. Welcome. I will see you. Okay.
Okay.
All right. Bye.
Bye-bye.